Hey guys, it's Nick here with Media Production Pro, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to format a screenplay. So let's get into it. Now some of you may already be thinking, why do I need to format my screenplays? When asking this question, it's extremely important to keep in mind that screenplays by nature are written with the explicit intention of actually being produced by somebody down the line. For that reason, proper formatting is not as much a stylistic choice as it is a legitimate industry standard. Since script readers are often tasked with reading dozens if not hundreds of scripts at a time, it's not uncommon for them to look for an excuse to label your work as not worth the read. Now, script readers aren't just rejecting improperly formatted scripts for the joy of crushing writers' spirits. If a script is improperly formatted, it may be difficult, or in some extreme cases, near impossible, for an AD to do a proper script breakdown. Script breakdowns are a very important and necessary part of the production process. If you would like to learn more about script breakdowns, keep an eye out because we'll definitely be covering that topic in a future video. Alright. We should probably address the elephant in the room. You 100,000 million% should be using screenwriting software when writing your script. They're packed with a bunch of extremely useful features, and trust me, it's just not worth the headache of trying to format something like a script inside of, say, Microsoft Word. My personal favorite screenwriting software is Final Draft, which also just so happens to be the industry standard. Now, fair warning, you might have a heart attack when you see the price tag, but in my mind, it's worth every penny, and I highly recommend it. That being said, maybe you're just starting out or just wanted to dabble in screenwriting and would prefer not to spend any money just yet. Fear not, because Fade In also has a free version with all of the functionality of its full-priced paid version. The trade-off is that after your first 10 pages or so, you may see the occasional pop-up purchase reminder as well as a watermark on your prints and PDFs. But in my eyes, that's a pretty small price to pay for the headaches you'll save. So definitely check it out if you're thinking about getting into writing screenplays. Now you're probably wondering what font you should use to write your screenplays. Scripts are written in the font Courier. Your scripts can be almost any variation of Courier, but it must be Courier. Why, may you ask? Scripts are written in this font because Courier is what is called a fixed pitch font, meaning that each character and space are exactly the same width. This allows for more standardization in regards to the length of each page. Typically, a good rule of thumb is one page of a screenplay translates to roughly 1 minute of screen time. So if you write a 90-page screenplay in 12-point Courier, your film should end up being roughly an hour and a half. This might not always hold true, as some scripts may be more descriptive than others, but it is the reason why Courier has become the industry standard. Moving on to the script, we first have to take a look at the title page. A title page is broken down into 5 lines and your contact information. The first line should be the title of your screenplay. This line should be written in all caps, and it's also commonly underlined, but that's not an actual requirement. The next line should be written by, followed by your name on the line beneath that. The next line is optional. If your screenplay is based off of a novel, short story, or something similar, this is where you would give credit. The last line you want to include is a draft date. This can be very useful in the event that you have a copyright dispute. Additionally, people like to know that they're reading/taking notes on the most recent version of your script. Finally, you should include some contact information in the bottom left-hand corner of your title page. Information to list here would be your name, mailing address, phone number, and email address. You don't have to include all of these, but do try to include at least 2, because the people reading your script need to know how to get in touch with you if it turns out that they like it. The first element of a screenplay is the header, also known as a slug line.
Eat slugs!
Say something!
Yeah, not that kind of slug. A header consists of 3 parts. Firstly, you distinguish whether or not the scene will be inside or outside by writing either INT for interior or EXT for exterior. This will be followed by the location of your scene, for example, a kitchen, followed by a hyphen and the time of day. Typically, for the time of day, you should just put either day or night. You can get more specific listing times like dawn, dusk, noon, etc., but you should really only do so when the story requires it. There are a few rules you should keep in mind when formatting your headers. Firstly, your header should be in all caps, every time and with no exceptions. You need a new slug line anytime your location or the time of day changes. When a scene transitions from inside to outside, you can mark it on the script as int/ext, and the same can be done in reverse as well. If an action carries over from a previous scene, you can write continuous in brackets next to the time of day, or replace the time of day entirely. You can also do this when trying to include a flashback. The next element you will see is what is referred to as an action line. An action line is a line of description underneath the header that describes in more detail what is happening within a given scene. The key to writing great action lines is that they should only include visual information, or put simply, things you can actually see on the screen. An example would be, interior, kitchen, day. Nathan stares out of the window while drinking coffee. He hears the doorbell ring and walks to the front door to answer it. Keep in mind your action line should always be written in the present tense, e.g. Nathan opens the door, not Nathan will open the door or Nathan opened the door. Characters are typically introduced in an action line. As a rule of thumb, you want to capitalize the name of a character the first time you see them appear in a script. This just makes things a little bit easier for the reader and helps keep track of all of the characters that appear within your screenplay. When introducing a new character, you should also make it a point to add a short description about their physical appearance. While action lines can vary pretty heavily in their overall length, you should always include one, even if it's only a single line. Additionally, to avoid slowing down the pace of your screenplay, I recommend you try to keep your action lines no longer than 4 lines. The next element after an action line is the character's name. This one's pretty obvious and serves the purpose of letting you know who's speaking in a given scene. Names should be capitalized and centered on the page. Following the character name, you will have dialogue. Dialogue is placed underneath the character's name and is also centered for easy readability. Dialogue is where you can really bring a character to life, so try experimenting a little bit with different speaking styles and mannerisms. There really aren't any rules for dialogue, so you can kind of just go crazy. Next, we should talk a little bit about character parentheticals. Character parentheticals denote when a character is doing something other than speaking to another on-screen character. Let's say you wanted to have a character being heard but not seen in a particular scene. This is known as off-screen dialogue. To show this in your script, all you have to do is write OS in parentheses to the right of your character's name. Voiceovers can be shown in the exact same way by writing VO in replacement of OS. Parentheticals can also denote when a character is speaking over a device like a telephone or a radio. For this, simply write something like into phone next to your character's name. In addition to character parentheticals, there are also dialogue parentheticals. Dialogue parentheticals are placed below your character name but above the dialogue and serve one of 2 purposes. Either it illustrates how a person says a line, or it illustrates when another language is being used.
Odio todas estas reglas. Escribir es tan difícil.
Now, you really shouldn't use these very often, as you're most likely not the director. You only want to use dialogue parentheticals in situations where an actor needs to deliver a line in a manner that's not apparent through the dialogue alone. I hate all these rules. Writing is so difficult. Next, we have transitions. Transitions are the one thing outside of the page number that should be aligned to the right-hand side of the page. The most common type of transition you'll come across is cut to. While I have seen many writers who like to abuse the use of transitions, ideally, they should really only be included in your script when you're trying to emphasize a particular cut. A good way to look at cut to is as the script equivalent of therefore. Another popular transition you might see includes smash to for more abrupt, impactful transitions like the ones Edgar Wright uses, as well as dissolve to, match cut to, and the oh-so-popular fade to black. Yeah, you know you want to fade to black. You can also use transitions like intercut with to combine multiple scenes into a single sequence. For example, a conversation between 2 people talking over the phone could look like this.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey man, I was just wondering, did you ever end up getting your car fixed?
Nah, I never got a chance to get to the shop.
Damn, that's a shame. Oh well, don't worry about it. You can also use the transition back to return to the previous scene. Finally, we have over black. You use over black in instances where there is no footage on screen. It is written in the header space and is oftentimes followed by a title card. To show a title card, underneath over black, write either title, title card, or Chiron, followed by the actual message you want displayed on the screen. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, that should more or less wrap up this video on screenplay formatting. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If there's any topics you would like to see us cover in the future, just let us know about it in the comment section down below. Take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.